So here we are once again in Mallorca, enjoying a day out. I'm on the bus and heading towards the marina. I decided to go to the sea today. It's such a lovely day. I was just looking at the content that's being placed on the IHM website of late, and I note that a lot of it is to do with what's going on in allopathic medicine. And I conclude that despite many truths, many proofs, many evidences, nothing's going to change. Allopathy wants the premier position, and it will get there and stay there by lying and cheating and by thuggery. So I turn my attention once more to the therapy of homeopathy and see what we can do in order to promote a good medical practice. We can see through history that homeopathy has never really had the chance, been allowed or permitted to spread over much as a scientific based medical practice. When we look at what Hahnemann did, we can see the troubles he had getting even the basic premise accepted, along with medical professionals taking it up and doing it completely wrong. And we see egotism, jealousy generated and promulgated to the exclusion of the factual evidence within the ranks of homeopathy. The acceptance of homeopathy in the early days was almost impossible due to the allopathic approach to the therapy. History shows that there only ever was a small amount of people willing to follow and practice in the correct manner, along with Hahnemann. The greatest practitioner of homeopathy, as we know, was Berningshausen. He was not a medical doctor, although a professional in many other fields, a lawyer, a botanist. He had studied certain elements of medicine within his different trainings, but he was not a medical doctor. If we look at his writings, we can see how he validated and improved the system time and time again. His case books, which are in the Bosch Museum in Germany, along with the writings in the works we have in English, show very clearly how Hahnemann was correct in many of his assertions and how the therapy worked. And he saw that Hahnemann had spent many, many years perfecting it, so he didn't see the need to reinvent the therapy. What Berningshausen did was copied it, emulated the practice methodology precisely, and in doing so he proved to the world that homeopathy is a very valid and exacting science that will help people if practiced correctly. As stated previously, Berningshausen did not see the need to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, and in putting forward his cases and workings, he demonstrated very clearly the methodology, approach, and good results. One thing I didn't know, and my colleague Ed Nunnery brought to my attention, before Berningshausen died, Hahnemann's writings and original books were out of print, and Berningshausen lamented about this in the medical journals and the articles, but he never really managed to reach the people that were practicing homeopathy so that they would understand they needed to know in detail what Hahnemann thought about the subject and his methodology. Bernninghausen spent a lot of time battling against all the pseudo-homeopathic nonsense that was going on, and in presenting his own cases and reiterating the directions that Hahnemann gave for case-taking, he proved time and time again this was the proper method. The way he understood the materia medica is unsurpassed in all of history by any homeopath. The therapeutic pocketbook is not a repertory per se, it's an aid memoir, a guide to the materia medica, but more than that, it's actually a synthesis of Hahnemann's thinking in evaluating a case. When you really understand how the therapeutic pocketbook has been compiled, and how using the instructions that Hahnemann gave for case taking, how the two just fit together so perfectly and give you one or more remedies to consider and to compare against each other in the materia medica for prescription. So now we have the situation that Bernninghausen passed away. The therapeutic pocketbook was only in the hands of the few who used it in Germany and some in America. All the methodologies that Swedenborg had managed to infiltrate into homeopathy through Herring and Kent absolutely destroyed the understanding of homeopathy proper, and an uncertain foundation was built within the American homeopathic system, and it was quite sad to see, but there you go. So we see that today, from Herring to Kent to Vithulkas to Sankaran to Scholten, they don't understand real homeopathy. It's based on Swedenborg and Kent. The teachings that they promulgate are what in the main today practiced and called homeopathy. So nothing really has changed in all this time. Although it's true to say the original teachings via the books were not in print. The organum was available right up to the 5th edition in America. There's no excuse for Herring ignoring it, or Kent. There's no excuse for Vithulkas and Sankaran. By Vithulkas, the Greek school, Sankaran, the new mentalist sensation school. All the writings of Hahnemann are available to them today. It makes you wonder what excuse can be given for not reading it instead of interpreting it in the manner which leads away totally from the Hahnemannian directive. Nowadays we have many approaches to what they call homeopathy, and to call it homeopathy, that's a travesty. The medical profession and the public really have no idea what homeopathy is. The short-sightedness of the self-seeking homeopaths today, trying to promote their own name, their own brand, as opposed to promoting Hahnemann's thoughts and medical scientific advances for the practice of homeopathy, well, that's not going to happen. So on the outside we have the drug companies, the pharmaceuticals, the governments waging war on homeopathy. And on the inside we have people practicing homeopathy with a blind faith and no real understanding. Now you might think I'm being hard or trying to say that I or we, the IHM, have the answer. No, we don't have the answer to every case, but we have the answer, according to Hahnemann, what homeopathy is, and we urge you, if you're getting less than 30% in your clinic or less than 50%, something is wrong in your approach. The success rate has to be much, much higher. You could not walk into an allopathic clinic and take over and have success. At least in allopathy they can suppress nicely or hold the immune system until the body finally kicks in and clears itself using antipathic methods. I've watched all these great homeopaths say, oh, I've cured this, I've cured that, and the reality is different. So, we as a profession need to start over. We need to look at it as though homeopathy, the real homeopathy, has just been presented to you. And the man who did it is a guy called Samuel Hahnemann. You need to go and read his works without the filters of Kent. This is a man who spent 40 years of his life researching and concluding, and then counter-researching and concluding until undeniable proof exists that the application of homeopathy in the proper way works. All we have to do is read, learn, and practice. We just need to do. We have the handbook, the organon. If we just followed that, we'd have a much better chance of success. And I'm afraid, my friends, it's as easy and as difficult as that.